What happens when six teenage boys, lost and stranded on a remote island, have to rely on their wits, their instincts, and each other for survival? This is not just a fictional story from Lord of the Flies, but a real-life ordeal of six boys who were marooned on an island for over a year. What they endured will shock you, and their journey will leave you questioning how far you'd go to survive. In 1965, six boys from the island of Ha'afeva in Tonga were attending a strict Catholic boarding school, St. Andrew's College, on Tonga Tupu. They were fed up with the rigid routine of school life and craved adventure. At the heart of this group was the eldest, 16-year-old Sione Fatawa, along with 13-year-old David Tavita Siola, the youngest. The boys decided to escape, stealing a fishing boat to sail away, hoping to reach Fiji or New Zealand. However, things quickly took a turn for the worse. They didn't have a map, compass, or any real plan. Their adventure started off promising, but soon the boat was in trouble. By the first night, a storm struck, and when they awoke, they found their boat damaged. The rudder broke, and they were lost at sea. They floated for 8 days without food or water, only surviving by collecting a small amount of rainwater in coconut shells. They tried fishing, but it was largely unsuccessful. On the 8th day, they spotted a miracle on the horizon, the island of Ata. Desperate and weak, they managed to crash their boat on the rocky shores of Ata, bruised and battered. They were exhausted but alive. The island, however, wasn't exactly a safe haven. The boys, with little knowledge of survival, struggled to adapt. They dug a cave to rest in and quickly learned that they couldn't survive on just coconuts and bananas. They needed water. After a few days of slow effort, they managed to collect enough rainwater to drink. They hunted seabirds, not just for food, but for their blood, which was their only water source for some time. Though they couldn't make fire at first, the boys persevered, trying to create sparks with sticks every day. They fought, argued, and cried, but they also bonded, agreeing that their survival depended on working together. They took breaks when tempers flared and supported each other emotionally, keeping their hope alive. Kolo, a musician in the group, found scrap materials from the wrecked boat and crafted a guitar from a coconut shell. The boys sang songs to pass the time, a symbol of the camaraderie that kept them going. One song, written about their struggle on the island, became a constant reminder of their shared experience. 6 months passed and the boys were still without fire. Then at last, one of the boys managed to get the fire started. The relief they felt was overwhelming. For the next several months, they made sure the fire never went out, protecting it with all their might. While their days were filled with hunting, fishing, and gathering, a tragedy struck. Stephen, one of the oldest boys, fell down a cliff and broke his leg. The group banded together, using branches to bind and set his leg. Despite the injury, they continued to care for him, and Sion joked, "Don't worry, we'll do your work while you lie there like King Taufa'ahau Tupo himself." As the months wore on, the boys discovered ruins from an old village on the island. They found vegetables and chickens left behind by villagers who had once lived there. The chickens became a major food source, providing eggs that kept the boys alive. They even attempted to escape Ata by building a raft, but it fell apart soon after they set out. They had no compass, and the raft drifted aimlessly. Thankfully, the plan failed before they ventured too far into open water. As time passed, the boys began to lose hope of ever being rescued. They created a more permanent shelter, worked on the vegetable gardens, and even played badminton to keep their spirits up. Yet they couldn't shake the fear that they might never leave Ata. Then in 1966, after more than a year on the island, their miracle came. Peter Warner, the captain of a ship called Just David, was sailing past Ata. One of his crew members thought they heard human voices, but Peter initially dismissed it. However, curiosity got the better of him, and he pulled the ship closer to the island. There he saw signs of a fire which piqued his interest. Peter had heard stories of escaped Tongan convicts being stranded on nearby islands, so he decided to investigate. As he approached Ata, the boys saw the Just David ship. They swam towards it and were rescued. The boys explained that they had been stranded for over 15 months, though they weren't entirely sure, as they had been counting days on a slate. They had only miscounted by 2 days. Peter contacted Tonga Tupu to report the boys' miraculous survival. The radio operator back in Tonga was in disbelief, declaring, "These boys have been given up for dead. Funerals have been held. If it's them, this is a miracle. The boys' families had thought they were lost forever. The boys were taken back to Tonga, where they were finally reunited with their families. Despite the trauma they'd endured, the boys faced more challenges. Mr. Tanyela Uhila, the fisherman whose boat they had stolen, pressed charges against them. The boys were arrested for theft, even after all they had been through. Peter Warner, who had been hailed a hero for rescuing the boys, decided to help. He created a documentary about their incredible story and used the proceeds to pay for the fisherman's boat. The boys were released, and soon after, they were able to return home to their families. The documentary aired in 1966, and Peter's life also changed. He secured lobster capture rights in Tongan waters as a reward from the king, and he realized his dream of becoming a successful fisherman. The boys, now older, went on to live their lives across the world, with some settling in Australia, the US, and New Zealand. But they never forgot the lessons they learned on Atta. Kolo still keeps the coconut guitar he made, and in the documentary, the boys express a wish. They hope one day the Tongan people will return to Atta, not as castaways, but to repopulate the island as villagers once did. Sadly, despite these wishes, the island has not been repopulated. But there is still hope that one day Atta will thrive again as it did for thousands of years. The story of these boys is a powerful reminder of human resilience, the power of teamwork, and the strength of the human spirit. If you found this story inspiring, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for more incredible stories like this. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.